So there's been another death of a celebrity. This is I guess the second major big celebrity death after George Michael. George Michaels, who died on December 25th on Christmas Day, is Carrie Fisher. Now, what happened with Carrie Fisher was, um, so Carrie, first of all, Carrie Fisher, she was an actress, writer, author, producer, and she was in a bunch of movies, but her most famous role, her best known role, is as Princess Leia in the Star Wars films during the 1970s. And she was I think a lot of people would recognize Princess Leia as the girl who had those big round kind of things on her, that round hairstyle. I'm not sure how to describe it, but where she had the buns on the side. So anyway, so she died. Now what happened? What happened with her was that on, let's say, just before Christmas, she was flying from London to Los Angeles. I think she went to England to promote, I think, her book or something. She was going to England for some reason to promote something. And on the flight coming back to Los Angeles, she apparently had some difficulties, and she has a medical issue, cardiac arrest or something, like a heart attack or something like that. And then she was flown to the or she was taken to the hospital, and she was in like a intensive care for a few days. And but now she's died, and she was 60 years old. Now, Carrie Fisher, her father was Eddie Fisher, who was a big pop singer. I guess he was one of those heartthrob type of singers, like Elvis, or like that Canadian kid. What's his name? I can't remember his name now, but that Canadian kid who's famous now. That's what Eddie Fisher was like back in the 1960s. And Carrie Fisher's mother was Debbie Reynolds. She's a well-known actress, singer, etc. So anyway, so Carrie Fisher. Now Carrie Fisher, she came out and spoke about and wrote about her various problems that she had, saying she talked about her bipolar disorder, her addictions to various drugs, cocaine, prescription medication. So anyway, so now with her dying, see, I suspect that first of all, if a person is using a lot of drugs, a lot of times people use these drugs and it does damage to they get damage to their organs, basically. So that puts them at greater risk of dying and suffering from heart attacks or whatever, or organ failure and stuff like that. So that may have contributed to her death at this point, at the age of 60, which is, it's not. That's still relatively young for a person to die in the modern world, or in a modern country. So, and then the other thing is, when people fly long distances. So she was flying. I think she probably flew from Los Angeles to London, then London to Los Angeles. That flight has to be, I'm not sure exactly how long it would be, but it might be 10, 11, 12 hours. I don't know exactly, but it's going to be a very long flight. That she's crossing time zones. So I think that just going on the flight, on a long flight like that, it creates it puts stress on people's bodies, right? So she's 60 years old. She was 60 years old. She was previous had been previously using drugs. I don't know if she was currently using drugs, but she had came out and said that she was, she had previously used a lot of cocaine, a lot of prescription drugs. So her body may have already been damaged from from all those drugs that she was using. Then she's flying, and she's flying these long distances, and there's something called deep vein thrombosis. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but it's a something where if you sit on an airplane for a long period of time, you get blood clots, and you can get like your blood clots up or whatever, and then you could get that going into your brain and get heart attacks or whatever. You could have problems from sitting on airplanes too long, and people can die from that. If they sit on a plane too long and do not move. So that could have contributed as well to her death. And just flying long, sitting on an airplane for a very long time is generally, it's not the healthiest thing in the world for people. So I think that's that could have, most likely contributed to her death. Anyway, so I guess rest in peace to Carrie Fisher, aka Princess Leia, as a lot of people would remember her.